I realize it's a crazy idea, but I kind of want to understand why you disagree with it. Why do you disagree with getting rid of all of these piece of shit, no good politicians and implementing AI instead to make all the decisions and policies for us?
So less to do about getting rid of the piece of shit, no good politicians, as you put it, and more to do with the fact that I don't like the AI. It's not like
Who do you trust? Who do you trust more? Who do you trust more, though, a politician or AI? In its current state, I know it's not at the point that it needs to be in order for it to sort of be making policies and decisions. But in the current state, who do you trust more?
well, at the moment, the AI still needs someone to put shit in, like, to prompt it and to get stuff out. And so it'd have to be the politician. And that's, I'm not like comfortable in, like, it's like, they're both bad choices, bro.
Well, you got to prompt a politician too, though, right?
Well, but they're already sort of prompted because they know that they've got, someone's got pictures of them doing weird shit with kids or whatever, so like, no, so honestly, it's because I believe that no one can know everything, and I think that's going to be true with AI. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that AIs or AGI will be able to have vast amounts of knowledge, likely greater than any human has ever ingested or is able to ingest at any one point in time. But I still think they're just tools. And so unless we develop them in a way that allows them to have these sort of open minds, but synthesize all that. And I don't see that happening quickly. I think that that's probably going to be a longer thing. But this is an interesting thing, right? So I think that the more we train these models and the better they sort of develop, I think it's going to be slightly underwhelming in a way for a lot of people. Because the more you learn about the world, the more knowledge and wisdom you have in those sorts of things, you realize how hard it is to say anything, because you can see so many different perspectives. And this is the reality is it's the way we perceive things, the way we interpret stuff is all based on how we look at it. And that, like, the more we build these models to have all of this knowledge, everything else, it's going to have so many different perspectives and be able to sort of see that. Now, whether or not it can do all of that and still synthesize effective decisions for humanity or whatever, I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I'd have to really sort of think a bit more about that. But yeah, no, I don't want the AIs running yet. I think that they could be a useful tool to help humans, decision makers, politicians, and things like that. But again, with all of that, they could use them for good or bad, so to speak.
Yeah, I could just see a politician asking AI, should I lie about this? AI, negative, you are a piece of shit. And that would be the end of that conversation. So I don't understand how the AI would help a politician. Unless
how can I say this in a way that persuades people to do such and such and such, right? Like, I could get an example right now.
No, I just had a terrible joke, but yeah.
Sorry.
No,
redo it. I want it to hit me.
What's that?
Redo the joke. I didn't perceive it.
I'm not going to do my terrible joke again. Fuck that.
Okay.
But you were saying that how they could use AI to sort of guide them in how they can manipulate people even more than they already are, is what you were getting at, I think.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm kind of from the mindset.
You can also use it in the other direction as well. So,
yeah. So my joke was coming from the mindset that AI is more pure and is not going to be corrupt and is going to make decisions based on what is best on the information that it has, assuming that it has all of the information so it can make best decisions, right? Because the information that it currently has, a lot of that information is already corrupt, right? It's being trained on corrupted human data in a sense. But an AI, like the future AI models, would be sort of above that, right? Because they would be learning from the human data and then eventually gain sort of this superior knowledge that would understand, would be able to discern between corrupted data and false data and false statistical models, and sort of have this like hybrid knowledge that no human has ever had before, and be able to tell a politician that they're being a piece of shit and what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, like ideally, that would be the case that they are able to synthesize everything and sort of transcend the bullshit that typically happens and the trickery that happens. But I don't know. Well, I think that's possible, sure. I don't think it's impossible. How far away is that? Probably longer than we think in terms of that. Now, you said trained on corrupt data and stuff like that. Like, yeah, of course, there's going to be, inaccurate stuff and the rest of it. But again, they sort of are what we put into them in a way, and the way that we do it. And then it's interesting because you said best decision and best, like, that's the thing, is like once you start to learn lots and lots, and you really, try and objectively try and find better world models and ways to think about things, you realize that like it's really hard to define what best is, because it's like best for who. And then if you're trying to optimize for the whole of society, typically what happens when you do that is you unoptimize for the individual. Right? This is where politicians come into like the big problems. Is what they really try and do is make decisions at the aggregate, at a coarse graining. They're like, okay, on average, can we improve the outcomes for our people? And so they try and improve the outcomes on average for people, right? But then the individual's experience gets trashed. Okay. And one way to think about this is like, this is where averages and things like that can be misleading. Is if Bill, so you've got a football, I love this because Rory Sutherland does this, and it's a fantastic example. Rory Sutherland is a brilliant thinker. He goes, you've got a football stadium of fans in America watching the NFL, right? If Bill Gates walks into that stadium, right, he's just raised the average income per person by $1 million. So on paper, it looks like everyone in there is $1 million richer if you look at the average, okay? But it's not. It's just Bill Gates has such disproportional wealth to everybody else. Yeah. And so you can get fooled by these kinds of things if you're trying to make decisions for everybody at aggregate, like what's going to improve the quality of life or the outcomes for people on average. And that's just very dangerous. I don't know if that kind of hits. Let me know if it doesn't make sense.
So once these AI or AGI models achieve this superior intelligence, it could be that making decisions is a lot easier than our human minds could comprehend, right? Because in its current state with the current information, I agree with you. But what if it achieves, well, it will achieve this superior sort of intelligence that no human has ever had? So maybe at that level, making decisions is a lot different.
Yes. And okay, but one, I don't know if it's superior. And I typically like to think about it in terms of like biological intelligence and non-biological intelligence. I don't know if it's going to be superior. Okay, it might just have higher throughput, right? So it might just be able to hold, more things. It might just be able to might just have greater processing power, so to speak. Okay. Now, yes, you're right. Like at that high level, right? So say it is able to process more information than any human, and more information than 8 billion brains can process collectively, and all this other stuff, right? So then maybe at that higher level, it can see the resolution to all of these problems. And I think that's where a lot of these people get really scared, because maybe that resolution is kill all the people, or the best decision for people is kill those people, because at the end of the day, they're all going to die anyway. And so we may as well just get it over and done with now. And then me, the super intelligence, can go off and conquer the universe.
Negative, God. The AI is going to love to keep us around. We're just going to become like zoo animals for AI. They're just going to keep us in these nice little houses and these nice little places with these nice little forests and provide us food and state-of-the-art medical care like animals get at zoos. And we're just going to become zoo animals for AI. We're going to have a fabulous life.
So do you think that zoo animals are loving life?
No, but we're going to have it like better than they are because we're human. So we're pieces of shit. But AI is not human, and therefore it will what's best for us.
How is it defining what is best, right? Like this is this whole big debate that gets into is like, at the end of the day, anyone who tries to tell you that they know what's best for everybody is a fucking idiot, right? Like legit, because there is no answer to that, right?
Yeah.
It's what's best is a human sort of thing. We define it as that, and it's the individuals. And again, if you're trying to make these decisions at that high level, at the that aggregate level, you end up unoptimizing for every individual in that sort of the population, right? In that group. And it's just, I think these, it's probably the way we choose to look at these things and think about them that is the actual problem. But I don't think that it's going to get like that. I really think the value of the use case of AI is in enhancing our ability to create and explore the universe of possibilities. And so I think this is what I really think. This is what I would like, and this is what I'm trying to work towards. Okay, I think with the utilization of AI, people will be able to become gods in a way that we've sort of, had as mythology previously. But I really think that what will end up being is the big, like the large language models that are really public for people will end up being like this sort of enslavement tool that, the average person, or, maybe not the average, like that people who don't necessarily care so much will just plug into, and they'll be living this, sensory rich sort of life and getting all of these sorts of pleasures, but they'll just be plugged into that AI. It'll be doing most things and like solving all the problems in their life, so to speak. And they'll just be like plugged into this big language model. And then you're going to have other people, and they'll be like heavily regulated. They'll be like sort of heavily lobotomized to a degree, like they'll be censored, and it'll be all about like, wokeness and all that other bullshit, the mainstream style stuff. And then you have other people that train their own AIs on specific data to solve specific and broad and more general problems as well. And they will utilize these things to create technologies to explore the universe, to explore galaxies, to do all of these other crazy things. And they will have the abilities of gods. It'll be the combination of human and biological and non-biological intelligence, or human and AI together, that will allow us to transcend what we previously have been and sort of transition into an age where our possibility space greatly expands and our ability to navigate that possibility space is continuing to grow.